work that are a good return on the investment of the taxpayer funding.
Question number 3, David Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Finance. What reports has he received on progress in lifting New Zealand's household savings and reducing household debt?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, Treasury advises that after 10 years of households spending more than they earned, savings turned positive last year, with a modest savings rate of 0.2% of household disposable income. This is expected to steadily increase over the next 3 years to around 3% of disposable income being saved by 2015. This process may be assisted by the increase in KiwiSaver contribution rates on the 1st of April 2013. As a result of better savings behaviour, household debt has fallen to 90% of GDP this year from a peak of 97% in 2010.
David Bennett.
Supplementary question to the Minister. How have increases in household disposable income contributed to the lift in savings and reduction in debt?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, household disposable income measures all income received in households after tax and less interest on housing loans. So the recent figures take into account 3 rounds of tax changes as well as a significant fall in mortgage interest rates. Treasury advisor between March 2007 and March this year, household disposable income increased by about a third. That means that households are making prudent decisions to focus on repaying debt at a time when they have a higher disposable income. In the short term, debt reduction is reducing demand and consumption, but in the long run it will give households, government and business more choices.
David
Supplementary question. What forecast does he have of reductions in Crown net debt?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the government Crown net debt is rising at the moment because the government's running significant deficits. But as we target surplus in 2014-15, Crown net debt will, as a proportion of GDP, will then start reducing. The economic and fiscal update in December 2008 showed that on government spending trajectory at that time, net debt would have reached 50% of GDP in 2020. Under the decisions made over the last 4 years in budgets, Crown net debt in 2020 is now expected to be less than 20%. In dollar terms, this means that instead of the Crown having debt of $150 billion as forecast in 2008, it will be debt of $58 billion.
David Bennett.
Supplementary question. What economic policies are helping to keep inflation low and assisting households to save more?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, households have done a very good job of saving in the face of reasonably difficult circumstances. A number of policies the government has put into place are helping them to continue with their saving. First, responsible fiscal policy, which is helping to keep their interest rates lower than they otherwise would be. Sensible monetary policy, which gives them certainty about the future and helps to keep the cost of living low. Tax changes which reward work and savings and discourage consumption, borrowing and excessive property speculation, and policies aimed at giving businesses the confidence to invest and grow and employ more people.
The Honourable David Parker.
Did he really say at Select Committee yesterday, and I quote, "Our problem is one of success"? And if so, given that unemployment is at the highest rate since he was last Finance Minister and our current account deficit is second worst in the world and set to get worse, how much worse does it have to get before he will admit failure?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we simply disagree with the member's diagnosis of the issues. The fact is that in the face of a sharp recession and difficult global conditions, New Zealand is on a track to 2 to 3% growth. And the member's attempts to sell snake oil on economic policy are not being bought by anyone. Most New Zealanders know that we need to stick to a pretty careful plan around increasing savings, careful management of our spending, avoiding unnecessary borrowing and doing everything we can to get people into jobs. And if we stick to that plan, we will do well.
The Honourable David Parker.
Why does he believe implementing the same economic policies as he did last time when he was Finance Minister in 1999, the last time unemployment was this high, will produce different results this time? Or will he be happy with the same outcome as last time, a change of government?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the member should be grateful for the hard work done by the governments of the 90s, including with the former Treasurer, the Honourable Winston Peters, who left the economy in such good shape that a reckless Labor government was able to enjoy the benefit of reducing debt, rising surpluses, but unfortunately they squandered that decade, and now we've got to fix it all up again.
Question number 4, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Economic Development, has the government changed its position in relation to